I was skeptical about this one. I mean, I've tried a few telescopes over the years, and most of them either gave me blurry views or required a degree in astrophysics to set up. So when I first heard about the Sky-Watcher Skymax 180mm Maksutov-Cassegrain, I'll admit I rolled my eyes. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. But after a few clear nights under the stars with this thing, my skepticism turned into genuine excitement. This isn't one of those cheap department store scopes that promises the moon but delivers fuzzy planets. The Skymax 180 is a serious piece of equipment designed for people who actually want to see details on Jupiter's bands or split close double stars. And it does it without breaking the bank or taking over your living room. First off, the optics are expertly matched. I've used scopes where the primary mirror was slightly off-center or the secondary was just a little too big, killing contrast. Not here. The 180mm Maksutov design folds a long focal length into a compact tube, which means you get high magnification without a mile-long optical path. I've pointed this at Saturn and seen the Cassini division in the rings, something I usually only get with much larger scopes. And the 94% reflectivity coatings really do make a difference. Even on nights when the seeing isn't perfect, the views stay sharp and bright. Another thing that surprised me was how easy it was to set up. I've owned scopes that required a tripod, counterweights, and a PhD in engineering to align. The Skymax 180 comes with a Vixen-style dovetail, so it fits right onto any standard EQ or Alt-A-Z mount. I mounted mine on my HEQ5 in about 10 minutes, and it was ready to go. No extra parts, no fuss. And because it's a Maksutov, there's no collimation to worry about. Once it's aligned at the factory, it stays that way. That's a huge plus for anyone who doesn't want to spend their observing time tweaking mirrors instead of looking at stars. The fully baffled tube is another detail that matters more than you'd think. Cheap scopes often have internal reflections that wash out faint objects like galaxies or nebulae. The Skymax 180's tube is fully baffled, which means the contrast stays high even when you're pushing the limits of the scope. I've used it on the Ring Nebula in Lyra, and it showed more detail than I expected from a 7-inch scope. The views were crisp and dark, with the central star popping out clearly on a good night. And here's something I didn't expect, it's actually portable. I assumed a scope with an 180mm aperture would be bulky and heavy, but the Maksutov design keeps the tube short and the weight manageable. It's about 12 pounds, which is light enough to toss in the back of the car for a quick trip to a dark site. I've taken it camping twice now, and it fits in a small case along with my mount and accessories. That's a game changer for anyone who doesn't have an observatory in the backyard. The included accessories are solid too. You get a 2-inch diagonal, which is a must for wide field views, and a couple of eyepieces that give you decent starting points, one for low power, one for high. They're not premium eyepieces, but they're good enough to get you started while you figure out what you really want to invest in later. The focuser is smooth and precise, which is crucial when you're trying to nail focus on a planet at high magnification. Now, it's not perfect. The only real downside I've found is the narrow field of view. Because of the long focal length, you're limited to smaller patches of sky. If you're into wide Milky Way shots or big open clusters, you might want a shorter scope for that. Also, the scope is sensitive to temperature changes. If you take it from a warm house to a cold yard, you'll need to wait about 30 minutes for the optics to acclimate. Otherwise, you'll get fuzzy images. But honestly, that's true of most telescopes, so it's not a deal breaker. All in all, the Sky-Watcher Skymax 180mm is a fantastic choice for someone who wants serious planetary and lunar views without the hassle of a huge setup. It's well built, easy to use, and delivers sharp images right out of the box. If you're on the fence about stepping up from a beginner scope, this one's worth the investment. You can find the link below if you want to check it out. Happy stargazing!